Hello, everybody. We're back again today with another top 10 movie list. 1995. Happy to be back with Brian, Massey's Main Entertainment, and Doc after a short hiatus. A little room arrangement, a little personal issues, whatever, under the weather, whatever you want to call. We had to take a couple weeks off just to get ourselves aligned again. We're happy to be back bringing you these videos. We've been doing the movie video since 1980, on my channel and on Brian's Massey's Main Entertainment. We've done the music since 1965, the perfect album. All those links will be below in the description, so please check them out. We like feedback. We like comments. We appreciate the comments, and anybody that watches, we're happy to have you on board. Always happy to hear your either agreement or disagreement with our choices. That's what makes it fun. We all have an opinion and what works for us, what doesn't, whether it be music or movies. So let's go on and get this show on the road. Tonight's order will be Doc, Brian, and myself. We're each going to give our top 10. And before we get to our number one, we always like to slide in that worst film of the year. So Doc, hit it.
Well, 95 was a good year, man. That's what I'll say. I think I got 10 really good movies, and I left off some stuff that I probably have more on a rewatchable list outside of it that aren't going to make my top 10.
Right.
But if I'm going to pick the best movies of 95, to me, I'm going to pick the best movies that I think are 95. I may not watch all these all the time, but these are probably the best movies of 95. So, number 10, I got a couple quirky kind of movies to start off, I'll say. So I got Strange Days coming in at number 10 for me.
Good.
This is Ralph Fiennes. It was a cool movie when it came out, man, because it was different. It was talking, set in the early 90s or mid 90s for the turn of the. That's when the movie came out in 95, but it's talking about 99, like it's going into the millennium here and what's going to happen. It's really well done. Like I said, it's quirky. It's got a lot of selling people's actual memories on the street for stuff, and it's just a messed up society, and it's a topsy-turvy kind of crazy world at this time, and it's just a messed up kind of flick, but it's a really cool messed up kind of flick, man. Lots of stuff happening, and it's good little twists and turns and a freaky kind of flick, man. I don't know what else to say here. It's one you have to check out if you like kind of quirky and different kind of flicks. I think you'd like Strange Days, man. Made my list. Speaking of strange or quirky, number 9 is going to be 12 Monkeys for me. Since we've had this nice hiatus and stuff like this, I got to go back and revisit a few of these anyway. So this has been fantastic for me in a lot of senses. So placement's one thing, however I do things, but 12 Monkeys is a really messed up flick too, man. About time travel and Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt and something about the end of the world. Is something going to happen? If something doesn't happen, he's there to stop it. And a lot of twists, a lot of turns. You don't know if it's real. What's real? Is the guy just bananas and belongs in an institution? Bruce Willis's character, and where does Brad Pitt's character fall into place and stuff like that? It's just a great mind messing movie, man. Not to swear on the channel, so I'll keep it there. But you want to go watch a movie that kind of plays with your head? That's exactly what it is, man.
Yeah.
Number 8. This is like placement for me, man. I got Apollo 13 here at number 8. So it's just a really solid flick, is what I would say. It's got good acting, got a good script. It's got a more my kind of astronaut kind of movie compared to something, let's say, than The Right Stuff. I like the time frame on this better. I like the condensity of it. I like the way that the action unfolds. I like the sequences of it. And Tom Hanks is and Bill Paxton and Bacon, I think, work really well off of each other.
Yeah.
In their basically for the last half of that movie, they're all together hanging out for an hour inside a space shuttle or a spaceship, hanging out trying to get onto the moon. That doesn't happen with a whole bunch of stuff that does happen with Apollo 13 in real life. So told really well. I think Ron Howard does a good way of showing it. And it's a top 10 or 95 for me, man. Rob Roy's coming in right behind it.
Nice.
Nice.
I thought about having this one even higher. So this movie's really good. I've always liked the movie. It's not one that we've heard any of us have talked about in previous times, but it's a great movie, man. Liam Neeson's really good as Rob Roy, man. It's vicious, it's heartless in some senses, and we'll talk about another one that as we move along that has some of the same qualities, but this is just focused on one individual for a Scotsman here. And I almost like this story more than I like the other one, to be honest with you, but I think I'll respect the other one more when we get there. But Rob Roy is a fantastic. Tim Roth is just
excellent.
Evil.
Excellent job.
just an evil bad.
I love Tim Roth.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Tim Roth, man, one of the more underrated actors. I think he was on my underrated list anyway when we did underrated actors a long time ago.
Yeah.
There's a reason why, man. This guy is very, very good. Number 6, I got Dead Man Walking, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. One of those guessing kind of movies, right? It's so well acted. It's a dialogue movie. I like dialogue movies when they happen and they're good. I'm in. Acting's fantastic. Susan Sarandon's great. Well deserving of the Oscar. Sean Penn's fantastic, man. There's a lot of good performances this year as well. This would be one of them. I think he was up for the Oscar for it. I don't think he won, but he was up for it.
Right.
Like I said, story driven, script driven, and you're still questioning yourself right up until like the last moments of this movie to find out, if you don't know the background of the story, did he or didn't he do something here? And Dead Man Walking, you get the idea, man. It's a Green Mile aspect. You're going last breaths. Did he do it or didn't he do it? So
yeah,
it's always been that kind of movie, man. It's still a great flick.
Excellent.
Braveheart's coming at number 5. Like I said, I toss and turn between the Rob Roy and the Braveheart in certain aspects, but for the scenery and the way it's shot, I just put Braveheart a little further ahead. It's a longer watch. Mel's good in the movie, man. Like I said, it doesn't hold back on showing you what's going on in Braveheart, and the Scots and the English having their big battles, and the Irish how they're involved and fighting for their land, man. And that's what his character was doing, man. Wallace was fighting for the land for the Scots. And it's vicious. The battle scenes are intense, and some of them are some of the best battle scenes I've seen for something like this that you'll ever watch, if you want the truth. So I give it a couple more notches up over Rob Roy, maybe for that aspect, but both solid. Man, this is tough. Okay, I got Heat at number 4. De Niro, Pacino in a movie, man. That's
True.
Michael Mann movie. We've talked about that many times. Buckle in, sit down and watch a good movie, man. It's Michael Mann. Writes good movies, makes good movies, directs good movies. You got Al Pacino, you got Val Kilmer, you got De Niro.
It's got a lot of people in this film.
It loads, man. Tom Sizemore is
Crazy.
very good in this movie too.
John Voight. Yeah, you got everybody.
John
Danny
Voight.
Trejo, Charlize Theron. I mean, and crazy.
It goes on and on. The list is
Or Judd. Yeah.
Jackie Earl Haley's in it, I think, too, isn't he? So
That's right.
He's an awesome cop and robber movie, man. The ultimate cop and robber movie, if you want the truth.
Yeah.
And some of the best friggin' scenes you're going to see as that unfolds, especially when they go head to head to each other in a real cop and robber kind of setting, man.
Mm-hmm.
Best street battle shootout and fight in a movie I've ever seen. So
Yeah.
and it's tough, man. It's tough. These top 3, man, this was tough to do. And I flip-flopped on some of the stuff that we've talked about in the past. But the way it goes is I got 7 at number 3.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. I had to think about this one for a while. 7's a fantastic flick, man. Like it's top 3 movie for me, man. And this could go anywhere. So, but minor holes in the flick and in the storylines, but they're minor. They just get overlooked, right? It's Kevin Spacey. The introduction to him in this movie is like halfway through the movie. Morgan Freeman's really the driving force, and Brad Pitt is just a half step behind him as far as I'm concerned in the movie, but he's great when he's in the scenes when he's in them.
Yep.
7 Deadly Sins, and some guys going bananas, and the cops trying to catch a bad guy, man. It's a great story, great cop thriller. Fincher, I think.
Yeah, David Fincher is the
Yeah.
director.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it feels like one, I guess, right? It feels like a Fincher flick. So
Absolutely.
it's just a really good flick. And like I said, this is just personal placement right now. This could change in 6 months, or 6 months ago could have been a different spot, but it probably was. But like I said, the last couple of weeks gave me a chance to watch some of these again, so I'm trying to put them in the placement of what I actually think of movies.
Hmm.
Which leads me to number 2 being Casino.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went back and I watched that one. I watched all these ones again, right? So Casino's a friggin' masterpiece, man. I don't know what to say. I don't think it gets talked about in the Scorsese line of flicks, man, that maybe it should.
I agree.
De Niro is friggin' awesome. Pesci's Pesci. Yeah, I don't care about the collaborations, how often they work with it. This is awesome, man. Sharon Stone's fantastic, man.
Great.
Absolutely fantastic.
Maybe an instance where only Scorsese is being compared to himself.
Right. Yeah, because he's got Goodfellas under his belt.
Exactly. That's what this is about. Yeah.
Yep.
Take that out of the picture and stand alone and go watch this with any, take the blinders off and watch this flick. Holy cow, man. It's quite the masterpiece, man. James Woods, friggin' got a great cast. Great storyline to it.
Rickles in
Don Rickles. That's this guy running the casino with him, his right-hand man. Friggin' right, man. It's awesome. So Casino's gonna be my number 2.
Okay.
Worst movie. Now, for the movies I saw in '95, I'm just going to pick the worst movie to me. Now there could be worse movies out there,
right?
Of course.
I think some are just garbage, and some I'm just going to think are the worst movies. Like Showgirls I think is a garbage flick, right?
Right.
First King or something like that. Blah.
Right.
Judge Dredd. Really close to making my list here, as the winner, but I gotta go with what I think is actually maybe the worst. I'm sticking with Waterworld, man. That's
wow.
Woo!
Throw the shade.
It's
hey, it's your list.
I didn't like the movie when it came out. I didn't like the story. I can live with stories having holes. Twister has a ton of holes in the friggin' movie, but I'm still entertained watching a friggin' tornado flying around, and doing all this stuff. Waterworld has so many holes in that friggin' movie, man. I can't get past it. I'm sorry. There's no land, there's none of this, but you have all this stuff, and how did you make all this, and how did all this happen to be and stuff? And
it's like Mad Max.
I don't know, man. Yeah,
it's like Mad Max met the man from Atlantis.
Exactly what it is, man.
Bad it was.
They're trying to do a Mad Max kind of themed kind of thing on water, and there is no land, and sure enough, there is land at the end, but you get land sick. So I got to go back on the water. What the hell are you talking about, buddy? You got seasick, now you're land sick. What the hell? Give me a break. I don't know. It's just garbage. That's all I know. Worst movie for me at '95. Like I said, there's some contenders. Usual Suspects, man, it's got to be my number 1. So,
yep.
Like I said, I flip flopped from a previous list, but Usual Suspects. I don't want to harp on it. One of the better movies you'll watch. Great twist, thriller, crime, cops, bad guys, friggin' guy flick you'll ever watch, man. Really well made, really well directed, great acting. Kevin Pollak's fantastic. I love the whole cast, Benicio del Toro. We all know who's in it here, Gabriel Byrne's awesome as a leader, and Kevin Spacey's fantastic in this movie, man. Chaz Palm. It's an awesome movie for it's a guy sweet spot movie, man. That's my number 1 in '95.
Yeah.
Nice.
Great list.
1, 2. Yeah, I had 7 hits on that.
I had 7 as well. I had 7.
Fantastic.
So we'll see if they're the same 7, but I did have 7.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a
Cool.
Great list. Those are truly great films. You have a couple personal ones in there, like I'm going to as well. So, and Brian too. I'm sure we have 2 or 3 that nobody else has, but that's part of the fun of it.
Sure.
Yep.
Great list. All right, Brian.
Thank you.
All right, for me, Number 10 for me, I've got Michael Figgis, Leaving Las Vegas. This is one of those things where back then it wasn't so much of a joke that if you had Nicolas Cage in your film or not, it wasn't as much as it is now. He actually did have a really good performance in that film, and I actually liked Elizabeth Shue's performance in that film as well. So I wanted to give it some love here. If Nicolas Cage would make more movies like this, not alcoholic movies where he just drink all the time, but just movies of quality, I think it wouldn't have been so bad for his career. So I put Leaving Las Vegas here at number 10. Number 9 for me, I've got City of Lost Children. That's a foreign film by Jean-Pierre Jeunet. Some other movies that he's directed would be like Delicatessen. Maybe somebody has, maybe you've seen that. What a great movie. It's got a good concept. It's got Ron Perlman stars in it. It's about a mad scientist who's stealing and kidnapping children so that he can steal their dreams because he's incapable of doing so himself. So it's very surreal imagery, almost like Terry Gilliam type films. I mean, very dark and dystopian and everything else. And I just really loved it. You don't even mind the subtitles. The story is so interesting. It's a great movie to watch. Number 8 for me, I've got Seven here at number 8. I agree with everything that Doc said about this one. I like David Fincher's feel in this movie. You kind of feel like you're in the city. It's dark, it's dirty, everything about it. Everybody, everywhere you turn, it's like one type of sin after another and lustfulness, and it's just it has that feel like you're living in a big city, and it's interesting to throw that city look. It's funny how the city looks vastly different than inside Brad Pitt's apartment where Gwyneth Paltrow is. Like she is still isolated from the terrible things that exist in that world, and right up until the very end, obviously, without giving anything away. Great movie. Number 7 for me, I've got Apollo 13. Doc touched upon this as well. I liked the story that Kevin Bacon was telling when he was talking about how he had to go up in an airplane and they go way above the atmosphere, go up in a straight line, straight ascension, and then come straight down again so they can have the effect of weightlessness when they're filming and stuff. And he said that you wouldn't believe how many times they had to do that. And he said, then you have reshoots and then you're going back up there again. And you're just constantly, you think you get used to it. He said, but you're just constantly puking all the time. And he said that was the horror story of filming that movie, as great as it was. It's a great story, very interesting. Number 6, I've got, oh, sorry, where am I at? Number 7?
6.
7, right?
No, I think you did 7 there.
Okay.
No, you did Leaving Las Vegas, City of Lost Children, 7, and Apollo 13. So you're
okay. Yeah. Okay. Where am I at then? 6?
Number 6.
Number 6, I've got Braveheart here. I wasn't real sure where I was gonna have that. To me, at first, it's like when I first saw it all those years ago, it just felt like it needed to be the best film of the year because it had this grandiose type of filmmaking. It was epic and all that. Going back again, it's still a good movie, but I think the first
You there, Rich?
I'm here.
Are we here?
Yeah, well, you're back. Sorry.
Yeah, there you are, buddy.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Sorry.
But I was still talking about Braveheart, right?
Yeah, when you first saw it.
When I first saw it, I thought it was fine. But now upon reflection, I think that the first third of the movie is just too slow for me.
Yeah.
So it doesn't get up into that top tier anymore, kind of slides down a little bit. Once you get past that first 45 to 50 minutes, then the pace picks up much quicker, and I like the movie much better. See, I'm getting lost again. So number 5 for me, I have got Dead Man Walking here.
Fantastic.
Yep, I think it's a great movie. The performances are solid. Susan Sarandon, Sean Penn's character he just does a top-notch performance. That was one of those movies too where it's like, I had a hard time watching parts of it, obviously, because of the brutality, not just the crimes that they committed, but it was very brutal.
Yeah.
Yep.
and the ways that they committed it. And I had a real hard time, kind of watching those things, but I think it was important that those things be shown in the film
Yeah.
so that, you would understand why this man is on death row.
Exactly.
It's just not, it's not worthy of a life sentence. It's worthy of the death of the death penalty. So yeah, I kind of understood why it was there, but great performances and it deserves to be where it's at. Number 4, I've got Casino here. Scorsese, like I said before, he only is competing against himself. I think that, this movie doesn't get the fair shake that it should, probably because of Goodfellas and some other, gangster movies, that maybe happened in the 70s and stuff, but it really stands that test. It's got really quality acting in it. Is it a little long? Maybe. Should they even try to bother to put it on AMC or TNT with all the language? Because that 3-hour movie suddenly becomes like an hour and 20 minutes because you're cutting all the
good stuff
bombs out of it and everything else, and the interesting oral sex scenes and Joe Pesci's car and stuff like that. I mean, you got to cut all that stuff out, then there's nothing really to watch, but it's still a great movie. I love having it there. Number 3, I've got Heat here. That climbed the charts for me initially from my initial list. I only had it at 9, but I rewatched it again, and I like the pace of the movie. I like the pace of the movie better than Braveheart by a long shot. It just feels like it's more engaging. The acting is better, especially the acting against each other and playing off each other is better in this film. It's not so egocentric like Braveheart's really kind of egocentric because it's directed by Mel Gibson, starring Mel Gibson, about Mel Gibson's character, right? So it's just very, very central to just him. But Heat just feels like, yeah, let's spread the love and let's make a great movie, and there wasn't hardly any egos involved in this. So that's what made it great. Number 2, I've got 12 Monkeys here. I know that had this way high, but I'm a big fan of dark dystopian sci-fi films, and I really love the look of this film. It really is a dystopian, but it's also a time travel film as well, and it's a closed loop time travel. I know they had a video I watched where I have 7 different types of time travel that there actually are, and this is a closed loop one in which the protagonist thinks they have a choice in the decisions that they're making, but the decisions that they're making are only leading to the result that was always supposed to be the result, and no matter what they do, that was always going to be the result. So I love Bruce Willis in this, and Brad Pitt's character. If we think about who was nominated for Best Supporting Actor this year, and those guys going up against each other, I'm not even exactly sure who won in this particular case, but I mean, Tim Roth and Brad Pitt were nominated, and and they didn't win. I mean, for the performances that they had. I mean, that's just, I'll have to go look that up.
Yeah.
Whoever was Best Supporting Actor winner from that year, but I got to think they must have knocked it out of the park. Maybe it's from it's Ed Harris, Apollo 13. Ed Harris won.
Oh, really?
I think so. Rich, check that out.
I don't think he did, but I'll look it up.
Okay.
Hold on, I'll check it out.
Yeah. And but in meantime, while he's doing that, I'll go ahead and do my worst film.
Yeah.
Doc, you had a great one. That was a perfect one. Talk about over budget and overblown and just stupid.
Thanks, man.
World. I picked Jury Duty because I think anytime you have a Pauly Shore movie, you should just go ahead and throw that on the burner, man. Because he's just astronomically dumb in everything that he does, and I just can't. I couldn't stand. He had a whole string of movies that just kept coming out about this time frame, and I was working in a video store at the time, and I was just getting sick and tired of seeing him on the covers of movies. So
yeah,
terrible movie, terrible precedent. Just basically a movie about a guy trying to get out of jury duty and just how buffoonery and stupid he is about it, So
yeah.
And number 1, also for me, I've got The Usual Suspects. This felt like a no-brainer for me. Great cast. Maybe the most infamous scene obviously is the interrogation scene where they're all in the lineup and they all have to say, "Give me the keys, you fucking cocksucker," and they all have their different ways of saying it. Stephen Baldwin's all energetic and psycho, and Benicio del Toro speaking in some type of foreign alien language that nobody really
You're not
understands.
talking about
And it's just, but it's great. It's a great film. Even if you know the twist, you don't mind going back and watching this film, even though once you figure out what the twist in the film is, the acting is
Oh,
so good that it's worth going back to.
yeah. Great one. Yeah, I think we have the same seven, all of us. We have three,
Wow.
we each have three different, well, you guys matched up on one that I don't have. Getting back to the supporting actor, it was Spacey that won the Oscar. And he beat out Ed Harris, Brad Pitt, Tim Roth, and get this, James Cromwell for Babe.
Oh my God. Now, which one of those people don't belong on that list?
And how
I
does
think the one that's
Cromwell
talking.
how does Cromwell get in and Pesci for Casino doesn't? Explain that.
doesn't.
That doesn't make any sense. I mean, a guy talking to a pig doesn't deserve to be in that group.
Yeah, even Benicio should get in there because
Yeah.
of Cromwell. You know,
Benicio del Toro, yes.
absolutely. But Spacey did win. He was on a roll. He won that supporting actor, and then he won the lead actor for American Beauty. And then
Yeah.
things happened, and he sort of got canceled a little bit. But that was
My God.
yeah, James Cromwell. He should thank his lucky stars that Babe flick made a lot of money, I guess, and they wanted to honor it somehow. I can't sit through that again ever.
No, that's garbage.
You know, I considered it for my worst film, but I just couldn't do it because it was nominated, and I don't want to piss anybody off that likes it.
You know it's going to be number one on somebody's list.
Somebody loves it, not me or you guys. Yeah.
No.
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 I think we have one, two. I don't want to give away. We'll count them off as we go. The trifectas.
Go for it.
Let's do it. My 10 and 9 and 8, I believe, are different. And then the top 7, I think we have the same. Number 10.
Here we go.
The 10 is The Crossing Guard. This was with Jack Nicholson, David Morse, Robin Wright, and Angelica Houston, directed by Sean Penn. Real powerful, emotional drama about a guy who loses his daughter to a hit and run, a drunk driver. Nicholson's the father, Houston's the mom, and their marriage is torn apart. They can't live with each other. They all the survival guilt or whatever. I'm a sucker for that kind of dark stuff because I wonder how people manage to pick their lives up and go on after something that horrific happens in their lives. And this movie does a good job of exploring that. So I wanted to give that. It is kind of a weak ending. I don't like the ending of the movie, and I'm a big Jack Nicholson fan, so I wanted to put that in there for some of his latter day stuff. Number 9 is a Woody Allen movie, Mighty Aphrodite. I like this film.
That's a great movie.
It's amusing. Got some laugh out loud scenes with Mira Sorvino as this woman who fathered Woody Allen's son. He finds out his son's a genius, and he hunts down, where's the real mom, and he comes upon Mira Sorvino, and he's trying to change her from a hooker and a prostitute. And there's some great lines in there. Great script.
Yeah.
Great direction. It's funny. Sorvino won the supporting actress that year for the Oscar. So, and it's got this Greek chorus that comes about 5 or 6 times in the movie that sort of surmises what's going on in the last scene, and there are a couple one-liners and they're singing and stuff. I enjoyed it. My number 8 is Before Sunrise by Richard Linklater, starring Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy. This is the first of that Before trilogy that they undertook. Two young people meet on a train over in Europe, and they have one special night together. Great chemistry, natural performances here by Delpy and Hawke. Great direction, and there would be 2 other films to follow. One where they actually get married, one where they get divorced, and it follows them through about 25 years of their lives. And I enjoy this kind of film. So that takes care of the ones we do not have in common. Number 7, I've got Dead Man Walking. You mentioned Sarandon and Penn giving these top-notch performances. It's directed by Tim Robbins, and I think Tim Robbins does a fantastic job of showing both sides, the liberal side and the conservative side of death penalty, whether it should be applied in this case. And that's why they hold on to that horrible scene till the end and really show you, look, you got something to consider here, people. This is a brutal crime. He won't admit it forever, and she sort of works as the nun. It's a real heavy movie, and I had to have it on the list. I'm glad you guys both had it. Number 6 is Apollo 13, the Ron Howard epic here with Tom Hanks, Bill Paxton, Kevin Bacon. You got Gary Sinise and Ed Harris, a really top-notch cast. And this is a true story of the NASA. NASA's trying to figure out how to save these guys' lives when some explosion happens in midair. The oxygen tank, I believe, goes haywire, and how to get these guys back without losing them. There's lots of tension. And the thing about this movie is we know the outcome, yet it still works as a movie because of the acting and the script and the direction. We know that they don't die, and yet we're on the edge of our seat wondering how it's going to play out. And that's a sign of a great movie to me. Actual events, history, all that kind of stuff. Top 5. Number 5 is Braveheart. I agree with Brian. At the time, I thought this deserved the best picture, but through the years, it's fallen a little bit back. And the other 4 films that I have were better, in my opinion. And you guys mentioned William Wallace, the 13th century warrior fighting for Scotland's freedom. Battle scenes are bloody and brutal, graphic, decapitations all over the place. Innards getting splayed. It's just tough. It's tough to watch. At the same time, it's extremely well done because that shit went down back then, man. That was very realistic. They didn't have. I don't think they had gunpowder then.
Nobody called timeouts and those back then, right?
No
time.
Right. No, and there was no such thing as not showing up for battle. I got a hangnail. I'm not going to no, you're out there, man. Get out there and do your thing.
I take a mulligan on this one.
Yeah. Number 4 is Casino. You guys are right. Scorsese, one of his more underrated films, if that's possible. Especially being a mob film with De Niro and Pesci. And Sharon Stone, I think, is one of her best performances ever, maybe number 1. Just memorable scenes. I'm in the desert digging holes and burying people, and that whole casino lifestyle. They show, what goes on in the back rooms and who they think are cheating them and all that kind of inside stuff that makes the movie really cool. There's money and power and greed, and all that stuff's depicted in betrayal and getting even, and just classic storytelling. It's one of the best Vegas movies of all time too. It shows you that city and the bright lights and the casinos and the hotels and top-notch stuff. How Pesci didn't get nominated for supporting actor over Cromwell, I'll never understand, but that's for another day. Number 3 is Heat. Michael Mann with that classic showdown between Pacino and De Niro. They have 2 scenes in the movie, once in the restaurant together and then that ending chase scene. Both well done. Val Kilmer's terrific. John Voight, Sizemore, and all the women. I don't want to leave them out, the wives or the girlfriends here. You got Amy Brenneman, Ashley Judd, and Diane Venora, who plays Pacino's significant other. They're all excellent. And they, you get to know these characters and what their home life's like, and at the same time, what they're doing for business and making money and crooks and everything.
Who was the daughter? Wasn't it Natalie Portman?
Yeah, I think Natalie Portman's in this too.
It was.
Yeah, young Natalie Portman. She had to be, 15, 16, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe.
Good stuff. My number 2, I thought about this a long time. I went with The Usual Suspects in 2. I love the movie, obviously. It's high up. Gabriel Byrne, I think, is underrated. I like him in pretty much everything I see him in. Same with Del Toro, Pollock. I'm not a Stephen Baldwin fan, but he's effective in this role as well. Pete Postlethwaite as that kind of leader guy, that, the money man, I guess. Chaz Palminteri's good as the interrogator with Spacey. Kaiser Sose, that whole thing. The con artist, you're watching the board and seeing him doing his thing, and then at the end, it all comes together. Beautifully directed for that surprise ending. You know, when he just I don't want to,
Totally.
but it's an all-time classic. Worst movie, I went with Showgirls. Doc mentioned it briefly at the beginning. I think it's just garbage. Paul Verhoeven, who's coming off of Basic Instinct, he directs a lot of sleaze, trashy exploitation stuff. It got an NC-17, and the reason I hate it so much, the dialogue is bad. It doesn't give you any insight into these girls' lives, why they choose that profession. Horrible acting by Elizabeth Berkley, who looks like a rank amateur out there.
Yeah,
She's
the
just
movie won the
horrible.
Razzie, and she won the Razzie.
Right. So
Yeah.
Oh, did it?
yeah, I want to throw a shout out to my buddy Gary from Physical Format Rock and Roll. He said, and he's right. He said all three of us should lose our man card because we had Exit to Eden and the other film last month that you guys had. That
I think It's Pat, right?
it's he liked It's Pat. It was the other one, the one that Doc had.
Oh, I had Bad Girls.
Bad Girls. He said, "You guys lose your man card where all those hot chicks up on the on the screen."
Sorry,
I
Gary.
agree with him. And I said, "Where do you see what I have in '95 with Showgirls?" I mean, you want to go in liking the movie, but it's complete garbage. So
Yeah.
that's why it's my worst. My number one is Seven, David Fincher. This is to me a masterpiece with how to weave in those seven deadly sins for the crime, and I like the chemistry of Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt as well, as they're getting to know each other, having dinner together with Gwyneth Paltrow, and they're setting you up for that big finale, which I don't want to give away if you haven't seen it. Just a psychological crime thriller of the highest order. You got the wily veteran who's about to retire, and Morgan Freeman, and then the young upstart Brad Pitt, who thinks he's got all the answers, and of course he doesn't. It's dark, disturbing. I mean, each scene, every time they come upon a murder, it's pretty, you want to hurl your lunch up, but you stick with it. And then the end's a real killer. It's just unbelievable. So it had to be my number one. But we had 7 trifectas, which is our most ever.
Ever.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Incredible.
I'm gonna count them up to make sure. 7, Apollo 13, Braveheart,
Yep.
Dead Man Walking, Casino, Heat, and The Usual Suspects.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really
Doc,
cool.
So big,
any,
actually, when you think about it, eh? Yeah.
The thing about 7 is if it would have been done today, the whole ending would have been blown too soon. They wouldn't have gone to that site because Amazon would have delivered too early.
That's true. The timing had to be perfect. You're right.
True.
The timing had to be perfect. Doc, you mentioned earlier you had to leave a couple good ones off. What do you have on your honorable mentions that just missed the cut?
Well, when you start thinking about it there, I left like Crimson Tide off, and
Yeah,
Die Hard with a Vengeance is a fun movie. It's a good ending to the Die Hard that I would say that's that trilogy anyway. The
Yeah.
4 or 5, I don't know what happened after that, but still a fun flick. Toy Story was a big animated flick, man, that came out that year, and it was
Yeah.
wasn't a bad one.
that was well
Honest
done.
with you.
It was well done. I just couldn't put it on my list because
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to make top 10, but I mean, I think it needs some sort of
it's great,
shout out, I'd say.
no doubt.
And you think about that, with Hanks makes Apollo 13 and Toy Story.
Yeah,
De Niro's in Heat and Casino.
Mm-hmm.
Brad Pitt's in 12 Monkeys and 7.
I know.
And Spacey's in 7 and Usual Suspects.
That's incredible.
Wow.
I mean, there's a lot of, some actors had that was a big year for a lot of actors, high-end actors at the time, man.
Yeah, that's true. The 2 I want to give a special mention to, actually, The American President. It's kind of lightweight, but I thought it's a good flick.
Fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Murder in the First with Kevin Spacey.
Yeah,
That was a tough last.
Kevin
Sorry.
Bacon and
Kevin Bacon
Gary
and
Oldman.
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman.
And Kira
Yeah,
said
sorry.
that as well. That's a good
Yeah.
film. And that was in contention. And also that Gus Van Sant movie, To Die For. I kind of like that movie with Nicole Kidman and Matt
Nicole Kidman?
Dillon.
Yeah, about the news sensationalism,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but they're in the teens for me. They couldn't crack the top 10. but still give them a shout out. But Toy Story,
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Murder in the First, by the way, Rich. That was good.
Yeah.
it almost made it over the crossing guard, and I waffled back and forth, but I like both of them very much.
It was on my original 10.
Was it? Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so that'll do it for 95. Pretty good year overall. Anytime you get 7 trifectas, you're living
Pretty
large.
solid.
Yeah.
Back with another in 1996. So check out Brian's channel, Massey's Main Entertainment. Check out our perfect albums from 1965 through 1995 here. So it's 30 years worth. A lot of videos, a lot of time spent doing these. We want people to watch them and react to them. And on my channel, you'll see all the movies from 1980 through 95. So leave the comments, thumbs up, subscribe to the channels, all that good stuff. So for Doc and Brian, this is Rich. We'll see you next time with 1996. Bye.